It was raining again. Cold, heavy, unkind. Principal Janet Rivers stood by her office window, her gaze fixed on a familiar silhouette. "Isn't that the same man I see every morning?" she murmured to herself. Outside, a tall, rugged man walked briskly along the edge of the road. His coat was soaked. He held a broken umbrella over a small girl's head, shielding her from the rain with care that felt sacred. Janet didn't know his name, but she was about to. For the last 3 weeks, she had noticed the same man always at the same time. Rain or shine, heat or frost, he walked the same path every day with a young girl beside him. They never arrived in a car. They never boarded the school bus. They simply walked. The girl was delicate and shy, always clutching her backpack tightly. Her coat was oversized, nearly swallowing her frame. She looked a bit too small for second grade. Her father, or so Janet assumed, always kissed her forehead at the school gate, then turned around and walked away, with the same quiet strength he'd arrived with. Something about them tugged at her heart. It was the man's eyes. They didn't show bitterness. Just a weary kind of love. That silent, sacrificial love that only people who have lost something deeply understand. One morning, Janet made a decision. She grabbed her coat and followed them, quietly at a distance. His name was Jacob Monroe, once a promising mechanical engineer with a bright future. Jacob's life was shattered 2 years earlier. His wife, Emily, had passed away after a long, painful battle with cancer. The bills drained everything. Their savings, their car, their home. He sold what he could to pay off what he owed, choosing dignity over bankruptcy. With no nearby family and no job that could catch him up fast enough, Jacob found a modest one-bedroom rental on the edge of town and worked part-time as a janitor at a warehouse. It was just enough for groceries and his daughter Lily's school uniform. He never asked for help, never shared his story. Not because of pride, but because he didn't want pity. All he wanted was for Lily to have a normal life. And for that, he walked 6 miles to school with her every morning, and 6 miles back, alone. "Daddy, are my shoes okay?" Lily asked one morning, her small voice cutting through the fog. Jacob knelt beside her. Her soles were thinning, holes were forming. "They're perfect. Sunshine," he smiled. "Just like you." He'd been skipping lunch for weeks to save for a new pair. But the heater had broken last month, and Lily had caught a cold. That took priority. Still, he would have walked through fire if it meant keeping her safe. Janet followed in silence, her heart heavy as she watched him step into puddles just so Lily wouldn't have to. When they reached the school, he kissed her forehead like always and turned to leave. But this time he paused. He saw Janet standing nearby. She stepped forward gently. "Hi, I've seen you around. You walk here every day." Jacob nodded, cautious. "Yes, ma'am. Just making sure Lily gets to school on time." "You always walk?" she asked softly. "Yes," he said. She studied him, calm, tired eyes, protective posture, no shame, just love. That night, Janet couldn't sleep. The next day, she brought it up in the teacher's lounge. Lily's teacher, Mrs. Gray, confirmed what she had suspected. Lily's quiet, polite, sweet kid. She once said her mom's in the sky, she whispered. And she mentioned her dad fixes broken things at night. Janet nodded, a plan forming in her mind. "He's trying so hard," Mrs. Gray added. The following week, Jacob received a phone call. "Mr. Monroe, this is Principal Rivers from Lily's school." "Yes, ma'am. Is everything okay?" "Everything's fine," she said. "I was actually calling with an opportunity. We're opening a new maintenance position at the school and would love for you to consider it. It pays more than your current job. There's also staff housing nearby. It's simple, but warm, safe and close." There was silence on the line. Then Jacob's voice broke. I don't know what to say." "Say yes," she replied softly, "because I see how far you walk, and more importantly, I see how much you love your daughter." That night Jacob cried. For the first time in years, it wasn't from exhaustion or fear, but from gratitude. Lily started arriving at school in shoes that fit. Her coat was no longer oversized. She smiled more. Jacob worked just down the hallway now, tightening loose doorknobs, fixing leaky faucets, keeping the school running behind the scenes. Sometimes Janet would spot Lily run down the hallway and wrap her arms around his waist. He didn't have to walk 6 miles anymore. He didn't have to choose between a heater and groceries. And he never asked for help. It came because someone noticed. Months later, during a school assembly, Principal Rivers took the mic. "Today," she began, "I want to share something. A reminder of what strength really looks like." She scanned the crowd, then looked to the back of the gym where Jacob stood, humble as ever. Real strength doesn't shout. It doesn't demand attention. Sometimes it walks 6 miles in the rain quietly, because it loves too deeply to stop. She turned to Jacob. Mr. Munro, thank you for reminding us what real love looks like. The audience stood in applause. Jacob froze stunned. Lily beamed with pride. This story isn't about wealth. It isn't about handouts or heroism. It's about love. The kind that walks quietly and sacrifices loudly. The kind that doesn't ask for recognition but changes lives anyway. It's about the power of noticing someone else's journey. Because sometimes, just paying attention can become the beginning of someone's miracle. And to every single parent carrying the weight of the world for little shoulders, they see you. And so should we.